Welcome to our channel, all friends. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to stay update for new videos. Thanks. Let's start new video. When my sister got married, she kept giving me the same piece of advice again and again, to stay away from our aunt. Hearing this from my sister made me anxious because our aunt was the only woman in the house and she loved me very much. She used to take care of everything for me. If I stayed away from her, then who would I ask for help? After all, my sister had gotten married and moved to her in-laws' house, and I was already missing her badly. Later, my sister even moved abroad with her husband, and before leaving, she once again strongly advised me to stay away from our aunt. I was left puzzled and confused by her warning. What was it about our aunt that troubled my sister so much? What kind of danger did she see in her? Our aunt even used to speak kindly with my sister and looked after her too. Yet despite this, my sister always kept a distance from her. I was quite young when our mother passed away. After that, my father and sister took care of me. My sister never let me feel the absence of a mother. I had an uncle who lived with us. He had married a woman of his own choice. Our aunt was the sister of one of his friends, and he had fallen for her at first sight. Seeing his eagerness, even my father agreed to their marriage. Initially, my father tried to stop my uncle. He said he didn't like her family and that this girl wasn't suitable for him. But as soon as he said this, my uncle got angry and said, "Nagina is a very good girl. How can you say such things about someone without even knowing them?" My uncle was blinded by love for Nagina, our aunt. Realizing this, my father eventually fell silent. He knew well that when someone is madly in love, they don't listen to anyone. They only follow their heart. And that was exactly what was happening with my uncle. The very next day, my father and sister went to see Aunt Nagina. When they returned home, my sister was clearly in a bad mood. She said to me, "She might be beautiful, but she's very cunning. Honestly, I didn't like her at all. I don't know what Uncle saw in her." Despite the disapproval from both my father and sister, Uncle married her anyway. When I first saw her, I actually liked her a lot. First, because she was very beautiful. Second, because she was always well-dressed and presentable. And third, because she showed a lot of affection toward me. Now 7 years had passed since Uncle's marriage. They had undergone many treatments, but they were still deprived of the blessing of children. I was the youngest in the house. I was 15 years old at the time. Maybe that's why, being the youngest, Aunt showed me a lot of affection. She would often take me into her room. In the beginning, my sister didn't object to this. Whenever I went to Aunt's part of the house, she never questioned me or found it inappropriate. But that day, when I entered Aunt's room, she was lying on her bed. Aunt warmly offered, "If you ever have trouble with English or math, feel free to come to me." At that time, my sister was busy sewing clothes for her dowry, so she told me, "Go ask Aunt to help you understand this question." I had a test the next day, and solving that question was really important for me. When I entered Aunt's room, she was lying on her bed. She was wearing a black outfit and wasn't wearing a dupatta. When I sat beside her, she sat up too. As she leaned forward to help me with the work, the curves of her body became noticeably visible. Seeing that, I became extremely flustered and immediately lowered my gaze. She noticed my discomfort and burst out laughing. Then she picked up her dupatta and wrapped it around herself. Her reaction felt strange to me, but I brushed it off, thinking it was just my imagination. I assumed she considered me a child, and that's why she had behaved so casually in front of me. But then it started happening more frequently. Sometimes she would playfully pinch my cheek, other times she would pull me close to sit beside her, or she would place her hand on my shoulder and sit that way. Seeing all this, I would get uneasy. My nervousness was visible on my face, and she would just laugh and say, "What's the matter? Why do you look so worried?" I would simply shake my head in silence. I couldn't bring myself to tell her that her behavior made me deeply uncomfortable. I didn't want to say anything that might offend her. Then one day around noon, my sister was asleep in her room. She had a headache. When I went to her to ask for lunch, she said, "I wasn't feeling well today, so Aunt made lunch. Go to her. She'll give you food." Hearing this, I hesitated and told my sister, "I don't feel comfortable going there alone. Can you come with me?" Over the past few days, Aunt's behavior had become even stranger. She had started wearing revealing clothes and didn't even bother to cover herself in front of me. But out of shame, I couldn't bring myself to tell my sister or anyone about it. Now, when I asked my sister to come with me, saying I didn't feel right going alone, my sister was shocked when she heard me say that. "What are you talking about?" she said. "She loves you so much and takes such good care of you. Why would you say something like this?" I didn't know how to explain it to her. Considering she wasn't feeling well, I decided not to bother her any further. I quietly left the room and went to Aunt's portion of the house. Aunt was in her room at the time. She had just come out of the bathroom after taking a shower and had wrapped herself in a bath towel. Seeing her in that state, I panicked and immediately turned to leave. But she quickly stopped me and said, "What's the matter? Where are you going?" "Wait, I'll bring you some food. You must be hungry." Hesitantly, I sat down in the lounge outside. I couldn't make the mistake of going into her room again. A little while later, Aunt came and placed the food in front of me. It was delicious. Then she sat down beside me. A soft, fragrant scent was coming from her body. Everything about the moment felt deeply strange. My sister had never appeared in front of me like that, nor had I ever seen another woman behave in that way, so casually and without concern. It was as if Aunt wasn't aware of anything. No sense of modesty, no concern that I was growing up. I was no longer a little child who didn't understand anything. Aunt sat very close to me, placed her hand on my shoulder, and started feeding me with her own hands. It all felt incredibly strange. When she noticed my hesitation, she said, "You look so nice to me. That's why I feel like loving you. But I think you don't like me. Maybe you think of me the wrong way." I said to her, "It's nothing like that. Why would I dislike you for no reason?" But all of this felt strange to me. Hesitantly, I finally decided to speak clearly to Aunt. She sat very close to me and asked, "What seems strange to you? Tell me." Her face was now just inches from mine. I felt a strange sense of fear and closed my eyes. Just then, I heard my sister's voice. "What is going on here?" Seeing my sister there, Aunt suddenly became flustered. My sister stared at Aunt from head to toe with shocked and confused eyes. At that moment, Aunt was semi-dressed. On seeing my sister, she quickly tried to cover herself and said, "I just came out of the washroom, and Zane was hungry, so I thought I'd give him food first, then change my clothes." My sister kept glaring at Aunt with anger. Aunt then got up and left the room. A little while later, when she came back outside, she was wearing proper clothes and had draped a large dupatta over her shoulders. But now her expression seemed very different. There was a look of fear in her eyes. As I continued eating, my sister sat with me the entire time, even though earlier she had told me she had a headache and wanted to rest. Seeing her sitting there beside me gave me a strange sense of comfort. When we returned to our portion of the house, my sister took me into her room, held my arm, and asked, "Since when has all this been going on?" I was stunned. "What are you talking about? What do you mean?" She said, "What's going on between you and Aunt?" Her words left me shaken. I began to cry and told her, "It's nothing like that. I haven't done anything wrong. I respect Aunt a lot. She's the one who comes and sits close to me, not the other way around." I had told her many times, "Please don't wear such clothes in front of me," but she never listened. After that, my sister strictly forbade me from going to Aunt's portion of the house. If I ever did go, she would accompany me herself. Now she wouldn't leave me alone with Aunt, even for a moment. Aunt's behavior also began to change. She started wearing a large dupatta all the time. Still, she showed me a lot of affection. Whenever she made something nice, she would bring it to me. One day when my sister had gone to the market, Aunt came and sat next to me. She gently stroked my hair and said, "I've always loved you like my own child. That's why I was so casual around you. But I don't know why your sister thinks badly of me." As she said this, tears welled up in her eyes. A little later, she quietly left. I kept thinking, maybe my sister and I had misunderstood her. Why would Aunt think badly about me? I was so much younger than her, and she had married Uncle out of love. Why would she betray Uncle, especially for a boy much younger than her? Aunt always cared for me. She would bring me gifts and cook delicious meals for me. Seeing this, my sister would get angry, but she would smile and stay silent on the outside. After that, she never brought up the matter with Aunt again, nor did she say anything to Dad or Uncle. But deep inside, she grew suspicious of Aunt and started warning me more often. She'd say again and again, "From now on, I don't even want to see you near her." But I remained surprised and kept thinking that maybe my sister and I had misunderstood. Aunt couldn't be like that. Around that time, my father arranged my sister's marriage. The proposal was from the son of one of his friends. When I met Brother Rayan, I instantly liked him. He was very polite and gentle, just like my sister. If she married him, I felt she would be truly happy. When I told my sister how much I liked Brother Rayan, she smiled with contentment and said, "If you like him, then he must really be a good person." Their family wanted the wedding to happen soon. After my matriculation exams ended, a date was fixed for the wedding. My sister was happy about her upcoming marriage, but at the same time, she was worried about me. She kept reminding me again and again, "Father will hire a maid for the house. Whatever you need, just ask her. You don't need to go to Aunt's portion of the house at all. You don't understand. If Uncle ever finds out even a hint of anything inappropriate, it will cause a huge scene. Dad and Uncle's relationship will be ruined, and the same people who praise our family today will laugh at us tomorrow." Hearing such things from her would shock me, but I didn't want to argue or make her angry again. So I promised her, "I'll do exactly as you say." After my sister's wedding, my father did arrange for a maid at home. She stayed from morning until evening, handled all the housework, cooked meals, and would leave after my father returned in the evening. She was an elderly woman with a very kind and respectable nature. The maid was always focused on her work and had a humble, reserved demeanor. Aunt and the maid didn't seem to get along at all, and I couldn't understand what Aunt's issue was with her. Aunt started to take even more care of me. One evening, she came into my room and said, "You've become so weak, I worry about you a lot. Since Shahista left, you've been alone. You should come to me more often. We can play Ludo, talk, and watch TV together. Time will pass without you even realizing it. Before your studies begin, you should enjoy life." Aunt was so kind to me. I really appreciated how she paid attention to my little likes and dislikes. She had even brought me carrot halwa, which I loved. I used to request Shahista to make it for me, especially for special occasions. It wasn't long before the maid entered the room. She gave Aunt a strange, scrutinizing look before sitting down. This made Aunt uncomfortable, and she said to her, "You've been hired for housework. Have you finished all your chores that you're now sitting in this room?" I also found Aunt's tone a little harsh. When I looked at the maid, I saw a shadow cross her face. She replied, "I've finished all the work. I just came to ask the young master what he'd like for dinner. I'll make it for him." Aunt quickly responded, "Today, I've made his favorite meal, so he'll be eating here in my portion. Don't worry about him." For some reason, Aunt's tone with the maid was always curt and cold. Later, when I went into Aunt's portion of the house, I again felt a strange discomfort. I quickly left the room, feeling uneasy. Every night, Auntie would bring me a glass of milk and sit in front of me, watching me with strangely sweet eyes until I finished it. I never liked drinking milk. Even as a child, I would only force it down out of fear of Father and Baji's anger. And now, when Auntie started bringing me a glass of milk every night, I began drinking it despite my dislike, just to keep her happy. But when I started feeling irritated, I finally told her, "Why do you trouble yourself every day? If I need something, I'll go to the kitchen and get it myself." Today, my tone had unintentionally turned cold, and the reason was that Auntie was dressed very strangely. Perhaps she was still in her night clothes when she came into my room. Uncle was away on work outside the city, and maybe that was why Auntie had been in my room for so long. Watching her made me restless, and controlling my emotions was becoming difficult. Just then, Father entered the room and said, "What's the matter? You're still not asleep?" Then, with a surprised look at Auntie, he asked, "What are you doing here at this hour?" Auntie flinched when she saw Father and nervously adjusted her clothes, which were barely covering her body. She hurriedly tried to leave, but Father stopped her and said sternly, "Coming into a young man's room at night dressed like this is completely inappropriate. Has your husband never corrected you on this? Fine, I'll talk to him myself." Auntie panicked and pleaded, "I won't be so careless again after today. Please don't say anything to my husband." After that, the matter seemed to settle, but Auntie's behavior had started to feel very strange to me. Whenever she looked at me with those deep, intense eyes, and our gazes met, it felt like electricity was surging through my body. It was becoming difficult for me to hide my emotions. The weather was cloudy that day, with dark clouds covering the sky. At a friend's suggestion, I had watched a newly released movie, one that was extremely romantic. The intense emotional scenes in it were enough to stir my feelings, and today I was acutely aware that I had grown into a young man, with desires that were beginning to flare up. But I knew I wasn't at the right age for any of this. Neither was father in a position to get me married, nor could I afford to get involved with any girl. If father found out, he would be furious, and I didn't want to upset him. Today, when controlling my emotions felt nearly impossible, I heard a knock at the door. I had locked it from the inside to ensure no one would enter, as I was watching the movie and feared father might come in early again. If he caught me watching it, he would surely scold me. But when I opened the door, I was stunned to see Auntie standing there. Once again, she was dressed in a black nightie, looking breathtakingly beautiful. I froze, completely taken aback, and asked, "What are you doing here?" Before I could react, she pushed me aside, stepped into my room, and sat on my bed, gesturing for me to come closer. This was unbelievable. I said to her, "What kind of talk is this?" Today I realized my sister's suspicions weren't wrong. She had understood Auntie perfectly. She truly was a wicked woman, unfaithful to Uncle in his absence. But I had no intention of committing such a sin. I told Auntie, "Please leave. If someone sees you here, it will be very bad." But she wasn't ready to listen. She started forcing herself on me. I kept pushing her away, pleading with her to stop, telling her this was wrong. Just then, Father and Uncle walked into the room. I was stunned, and Auntie's face turned pale. Father said angrily, "Now you've seen with your own eyes what your wife is capable of. For years, I've noticed how she's been trying to corrupt my innocent child. I warned you before, this woman is no good, but you never listened to me. Now look at her actions with your own eyes." When I heard this from Father, Auntie started crying. She begged, "Forgive me, I made a mistake. I won't do it again." But Uncle slapped her hard across the face, then dragged her out of the room. The next day, Uncle kicked her out of the house and divorced her. He said, "What good is a woman who can't protect my honor in my absence? One who tries to seduce my own nephew, a boy half her age?" After that, Uncle was deeply upset. Father kept urging him to remarry, and eventually Uncle married a widow his own age, who had a 2-year-old daughter. Not only did he give shelter to the little girl, but he also embraced them as his own family. 2 years later, Allah blessed Uncle with a son. He was now very happy. His new wife was kind, blended well with the family, and everyone was at peace. As for me, the constant fear of Auntie's presence was finally gone. Beiji, my sister, also stopped being suspicious of me. All her worries had vanished.